what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
Welcome back to The Razor's Edge. My name is Chris, and I am joined by Nico from the incredible Katatonia ahead of the release of their new album, Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State, which drops on June 6th. I always have to reread that title a few times. It's quite a lengthy one. Thank you so much for joining me today, dude. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm pretty good, man. Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you again so much for taking the time. Cool. So, as I mentioned right there at the start, your new album with Katatonia drops on June 6th. I have been lucky enough to get to listen to it already. Congratulations with it. It is a stunning album.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. The exciting news, of course, is this is the first album for the band where you are in there as the full-time guitar player. So let's get the most obvious question out of the way right now. How did you find yourself joining Katatonia?
I got the question to do like the one gig 2 years ago in Hobart, Australia. And it's funny, Jonas was like, I know this is bananas, but how about learning 25 songs and then travel for 6 days and do the one show? But this was like immediately after COVID. So I would have walked to Australia because I hadn't done a gig for like a year or 2 years actually. And then, like maybe a year later, Anders couldn't do a whole European tour, so I did the whole tour. I think that's 2 years ago. I mean, time flies, who knows? But we hit it off immediately. Like on that first gig in Australia, we got along really well. We have the same shitty sense of humor, so it was. I was really pleased and happy when they asked me to like join full time because I really enjoy playing their music. It's really hard, but in a nice way. So you have to be on your toes. And also it's quite different from what I've done before. So that was nice with a change. So yeah, no, I'm chuffed, and I think it's I'm looking forward to play this album live in front of people.
Brilliant. So that very first gig that you mentioned, the one that sort of came out of nowhere after COVID, did you say you had about 6 days to learn the set?
No, it was 6 days. I mean, it was literally, I think, like to get from Sweden to Australia, the traveling back and forth was 6 days.
Oh, I see. Okay.
No, I had like a few, maybe like a month or something. I can't remember.
Okay.
It was stressful, I was really concerned there for a while. But
Right.
you know, again, after having had fuck all to do, except watching horrible news about how we're all gonna die in COVID, it was like impossible to say no to. So. But yeah, it was intense. And then we lost. None of the gear came to Hobart, so we had to do the gig on borrowed gear. So it was interesting to say the least. But it was great fun. Hobart is a great place. I was really amazed on how non-exotic it was, even though it's in Australia and it's as exotic as it gets in my book. But it looked like any town in Edinburgh or whatever. Really. But the Australian version. So yeah, it was great.
Fantastic. So how did you initially? Where did your first connection with the band come from? How did you know them before so that they could reach out to you to ask you to do that?
We met, over the years here and there, briefly on festivals and such when I was playing with Intombed. But I think they did a gig with Bloodbath on a festival that we did as well, and then the day after we had like a couple of hours waiting to get to the airport in a hotel bar, and that's where we had like a couple of hours of just drinking beer and talking shit, and that's when we really hit it off. Me and Jonas, I was like, hold on, this guy is insane in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there was like no need for audition or anything.
But I didn't realize that. Yeah, no, I didn't realize at the time, and it was but it was really. I remember I was like, those guys are really cool, and you just get this sense that nobody thought about me playing or joining or whatever at that time. But in retrospect, I realized that this is the most important thing when being in a band, that you can hang out and have fun together, because it's 23 hours a day that you have to deal with each other, and then the 1 hour show. So it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So on this new album, obviously, both guitarists have changed. Obviously, I'm not for a moment going to pry as to why the lineup had to change. However, was there any pressure when joining the band, living up to who was in there before? Because Anders, for example, I mean, he'd been in the band from the beginning. Was there pressure going into that?
I mean, there's always pressure when you join. I mean, for me, Roger, he's a dear old friend of mine, and I consider him to be like top 3 guitar players on the planet. So yeah, it was very intimidating. But at the same time, it's the good kind of pressure. It's like you just have to work harder and be on your toes. And it was pressure, but not to the extent that it maybe should have been if I was sane.
Yeah.
I was more excited than scared.
Mm-hmm.
That having said, I was scared, so and still am,
Yeah.
but in a good way. So
yeah.
It just makes you work harder, and that's how it should be, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Not the kind of scared that would make you even hesitate for a second to do it. You knew you were going to do it.
Yeah, for sure. No, it wasn't one of those. Well, you always think like, man, I can't do this. This is too hard, or because it is quite hard. I have to say, there's all these odd meter weird changes that I wasn't used to at all. But I love to listen to that stuff. So, and now it feels slightly less scary. But I hope that's that fear. I hope it never goes away, because without it, it just gets it's boring, and you don't want it to be like a daytime job, because it's not really. But at the same time, you don't want to be terrified. So I think I'm in a fairly good place right now.
Awesome. I mean, we've mentioned already, prior to Katatonia, you were, of course, in Intombed, which is obviously quite different to what Katatonia is now.
Indeed.
I mean, you mentioned that the proggy stuff is quite a challenge, but I'm sure a lot of layman's out there, death metal looks pretty damn difficult and impressive already. It's just, surely it wouldn't. I mean, you've done technical guitar before.
No, it's not the actual technical stuff, to be honest. Because as you say, yeah, death is you have to. It's really hard technically to play, but it's just the odd meter and weird arrangements, and just different in dynamics. That is sometimes the easy parts is the hardest one to play. You know what I mean? It's kind of like food with not a lot of ingredients is actually quite hard to pull off. If you have 65 different spices, you just throw them in there and pray. But if it's just a 2, it has to be the exact perfect amount. So when not to play, when to play extra much, and so forth. So I think that's it wasn't like are my hands gonna manage this? It was more like how do I get in under the skin of the music? So you play it not with a calculator and a sheet in front of you. You know what I mean? So yeah. No, I'm still like we're doing a bunch of new songs now, obviously, and then from the back catalog, and immediately when there's new songs introduced, I have 2 days of like, Christ, here we go.
Cool. As it's sort of in like your spare time, do you still gravitate towards playing death metal, or has this new style entered your vernacular as a guitar player, so to speak?
Well, the thing, I've been, I'm engineering and producing quite a lot of metal, and have been for quite some time. So whenever I'm in my spare time, I usually listen to anything but that.
Right.
So and it's not because I don't like it. It's just that you can't freaking have pizza every day, all day. So, and also, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, and this kind of ambient stuff that Katatonia touches on. So I think it's a really nice mix of where I come from and where I've, had my listening preferences. So it's a great match.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about the new album. So, how much of this album does it contain any of your creative input? Because I believe you joined sort of partway through the construction of the thing.
Right. Well, I've had obviously creative input, but the bulk, the major part of the album is Jonas's doing, as has been for the latest, I don't know how many albums, but I mean, he's a tremendous songwriter, and he has a really he has his own way of coming up with it. And basically, I'm still trying to decode how it's done. But yeah, no, there's been he's open. It's like a band deal that we talk about everything. But I have to say, I mean, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And I couldn't find anything really broken. There was like arrangements and obviously how to play but as far as writing, we didn't really have the time to sit down and I'm sure we'll do that in the future. But so it was considering how late in I was, I think it was perfect because. You don't want to be like the dude that starts in a band and then comes up with a couple of songs that has nothing to do with the band's origin.
Yeah.
And then everybody just hates me. So, but in time. But yeah, no, it's a great. I think it's a great dynamic in the band as far as coming up with stuff. It's how it should be in a band.
Yeah, brilliant. So Katatonia obviously is. You guys are known for not being predictable, basically. The band have gone through so many different styles and sounds over the years. It's really cool as a fan, basically, because we never know what the hell you guys are going to do next. So, how would you describe the new album for fans? What sets Nightmares apart from the back catalogue?
That's I mean, as you said, it's been evolving and going in all kinds of direction, and I think this one is even going further into a place. I can't say what place because I don't really know yet myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a different take. It's for me, I feel like it's one of those albums that takes a few listens before you get it. Mm-hmm. And in my experience, I think those are the good ones because they tend to last longer in your playlist.
Yeah.
But it's very it's all over the place. There's no like straight up hit songs like verse chorus solo chorus goodbye. The arrangements are all really obnoxious, weird, like in a cool way. So it's really hard for me to say how it's different. I can just say it is different, and but I'm quite pleased with the result. I think the sound of the album is insane. The mixing dude, Adam Noble, shout out. He's like the man. So, and me being a complete sound geek, that's really fulfilling to hear your guitars sounding, or not only the guitars, but the whole thing. It's like, holy cow, is this us, really?
Yeah.
So that's I'm really chuffed about, and hopefully we will never ever use anyone but him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cheers, Adam.
Awesome. I can totally empathize with that. My band just got out the studio and we got the first mixes back, and it's you never get tired of that first time you hear the song when it comes back. It's just the best.
yeah, for sure.
Cool. I love the last album, Sky Void of Stars, and to me this feels like a good evolution of what that album did, if that makes sense. This one's very guitar focused.
No, it does. It completely does. I mean, I'm also a huge fan of Sky Void of Stars. And this is kind of like on the same path, but just further into the woods, so to speak. So yeah, I agree on that. That it's kind of like if you would have to compare it to another album, I think Sky Void of Stars is like the closest one. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's cool. Thanks.
No worries. So we've got a couple songs that are out already, Lilac and Temporal. Both of those are, of course, awesome. But is there a track, if you're allowed to name drop, is there a track yet to come which you're excited for people to finally get to listen to?
Yeah, I mean, I think since it's just out and it's like you just got out of that process, in the studio where everything's all over the place, I'm still kind of like figuring out, and it's a really nice place to be. We played I think the one song we played Lilac live once, and then as soon as you start playing the song, that kind of like, for me at least, takes a little bit away of the magic because now it's a recipe and you're cooking it every night. So basically any song that I haven't played is is my favorite. I think in the event of, I'm really, really happy with how that came
Oh
out.
my god, yeah. That's probably my favorite. It's so
All
good.
right, on, cool, thanks, man. And the first song is also like Thrice. I think that's hopefully going to be turning some heads. But this changes, and then if you ask me like in 6 months, but when we be playing those songs for like, then I'm sure it's going to be like a different song. So, but that's also the beauty of it,
Oh, of
like
course.
that you don't pick one and then you stick with that one. It's very dynamic, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So, let's talk a little bit about your career. So, where did your journey to heavy metal begin?
Oh my lord! It started when I was about 12 years old at this place you go to after school, and this girl, she played Iron Man on one string on an acoustic guitar, and I was like, how in the hell did you do that? And then she showed me, and I practiced that one riff, and then a friend of mine, he learned how to play he could play Number of the Beast, the intro
Ah.
riff. And then I was like, holy crap, this is the best guitar player I ever seen or heard. But I thought it was the bass for some weird
Okay.
reason. So I started playing bass, and then we did that first gig, and that's when I realized that, Christ, I picked the wrong instrument here. That cool distorted sound, that's the guitar. So then I started playing guitar, and then basically I think Metal Heart with Accept came out, and that dude that could play the Number of the Beast riff, he could play that Fir-Elise Beethoven.
Oh yeah.
That's in the solo. And then, okay, you have to learn me that. And after that, I was completely hooked. It was 10 hours a day just fucking practicing. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
brilliant.
how it started. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So would you say Iron Man was the first riff you ever learned?
Sorry, now
Sorry, would you say that Iron Man was the first riff you ever learned on
that
guitar,
is
basically?
the first riff.
Yeah.
Still the best.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, what a riff! Come on,
Yeah,
dude.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you never forget the first riff you learn, but
No, no, no,
and
no.
that's I think 99% of guitarists could probably say it was that one. Cool. So I think a lot of people are going to know yourself from Entombed, obviously, Entombed AD. That band concluded in 2021, if I've got that correct. So
Yes.
what was life like for you between the years of Entombed and joining Katatonia?
I mean, as for anybody in the music business, it was horrible because COVID came or hit or whatever you want to say. So that year of sitting at home and not being able to do anything, it was really, really out of this world in a bad way. So when it's then LG passed, so obviously that was like it was 2 years of completely like, okay, I don't know anything. I remember it as a blur, really. It was boredom and just anxiety, and everybody was like, how is this? I mean, what's happening? So and when you've been like that for a long time, you kind of like just lose faith. I think we all did in some way or another. So it was really nice wake up when they called about that Hobart gig. It's like, oh yeah, you can do this actually still. So it was a very bad period, but it was for all of us. So I'm just happy it's over, and hope you never ever end up there again.
Yeah, definitely. But before we round off, let's look forward. So, going back to Catatonia, after the release of this new album, what does the rest of 2025 have in store for the band?
We're gonna do festivals now up until like August or something. A bunch of really nice ones like Grass Pop and Wacken, and I think in Italy, Romania, and a few more places that I can't remember. And then we go off on a full European tour like in November with Evergrey and Clogger. That's going to be like 5-6 weeks of complete mayhem.
Yeah.
So that's and then that would conclude 25. So that's what we have in store for this year. So yeah, it's I'm chuffed.
Yeah, definitely. And given how I think this new album work started back on it in 2023, so it's been in the works for quite a while. Now that the album is finally out, and I appreciate this is very early days for me to ask this, but are you aware of any new music maybe brewing in the background for Katatonia?
Of course. I mean, I think it's early, but somebody said to me a long time ago that only amateurs wait for inspiration. So basically, and I've learned that, that kind of hangover that you get from writing and recording an album, the best way of not getting that is just keep on doing it. So we're all doing it. I'm doing it on a daily basis, but I mean, it's at the same time, it's really nice that you don't have a deadline because, so that's what I think we're all working against. We know that there's going to be a deadline sooner or later, so let's better have some material ready. But yeah, no, I mean, as of right now, we're all, it's a very tight knit group, and we have the same focus and goals, more or less, I think. So it feels like we're all a kind of like personnel on a huge tank, ready to go to war. But not a nice war without any people actually getting killed. But it's nice to know that your crew, that you depend on your crew and they depend on you. It's very, very solid feeling as of right now. So yeah, I'm psyched.
Amazing. Cool. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for joining me today, dude. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Right on.
Cool.
Likewise.
I'll remind everyone watching Katatonia's new album, Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State, drops every time. I got to double check.
I know. It's hard to say.
Drops on June 6th. Make sure you check it out. It's another mind-blowing album from Katatonia. I've been Chris with The Razor's Edge. Thank you, Nico, for joining me. Thank you all for watching. And we'll see you in the next one.
For sure. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with all of our interviews by subscribing to our channel. For all the latest news, reviews, interviews, and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.